Okay, so continuing adding content in the HTML page, trying to get something kind of looking like this right here, where everything's kind of spaced out nicely. Notice if I go to preview, where's my preview? There it is right there. And you can start aligning images and text however you want to. I just have some filler text in there right now. So let me delete this. Basically, right now, back at where I started at. Cool. Okay, so yeah, and I think in the previous one I actually did the navigation bar up there, but it's just basically about switching your nav below your header, which is what I have in this one right here. So if you have your navigation bar up there and you have a header, it's really kind of up to you how you start placing these things. But I'm going to place like basically a main content box right below this navigation bar. So I'm going to go right below it on this right there and insert main. Create a new tag for it. I'm going to call it main. So now it's added an ID, and on my style sheet, should have edited. Here we go. So let me open it up. Once I create an ID, it's going to add another one in here for the main. Create main. Attach it to the Monday style sheet, my regular style sheet I was using. Voila. Now I have it, what class it's for, the ID, and in my style sheet it has added the new subheadings, which I can go down here and start adding sub-content down here. So first thing I'm going to add is I'm going to make sure the property, I'm going to go over here to my selectors and select it over here. I want this thing to be 100%. I want it to span the entire. And I'm in my live view too, so which I like that view because I can see my tags up here. So now I'm going to go into my main and I'm going to basically insert an image. My design. Insert image. I'm just going to use this small profile picture right here. You can use a bigger, oh, actually I use the bigger one. That way I can kind of scale them down a little bit more. Maybe I should use the other one for demo. I think I had the other one in there. Cool. All right, so now what you can do is, now that you, well, it should have nested it in there. Live version. Just get rid of this box right here because it's really bugging me. There it is. I want to nest it in there. Make sure it nests in there. So I was in the design view. You go back to my nest the image. Cool. Now I got something. Now we're back to where I was. I was a little off there. Sorry about that. But yeah. So now you can manipulate this basically. So I'm going to select this thing, and Actually, what I'm going to do is create an ID tag for this so I can start moving this thing around and have its own give its own style property of its own, basically. So I have the main selected over here. I'm just going to create a new selector off that main, and it's my main image. So I'm going to delete this. And this is kind of where it gets kind of in a creative, where you can kind of be creative what you want to do and how you want to have this stuff. I am going to set the width at a certain percentage. I'm going to split the width of it 100% because I'm going to add text over here. So in other words, I want this thing to be like 50% to only be able to utilize 50% of the actual 100% of the main tag. So I'll just type in 40. This could be adjusted as I go along. I'm going to do 45% for right now. Yeah, so that's a little too much. My image is only so big anyway. So let me try 30%. It's stretched a little bit, but that's okay. I'm going to go and kind of move it some so it'll go back into place. The display, this is important to the display because I'm going to be putting something right next to it. Inline block. We won't see the importance of that until we put the text in. And I want to have this thing float to the left. Now here's where you can start moving around your margin. You'll see your margin and your padding. Margin kind of takes place on the outside of the content. Padding is to do with the inside. And sometimes that takes just kind of padding. If I were to have text inside here and I wanted the padding to fill within the box, you can. But right now I want to create margins because I don't want this thing to be so close to this navigation bar. So I can just start typing in some values, 30 pixels there. I'm going to scoop this thing in a lot. Let's go some more. And I'm going to go back and adjust that width. I make my right. So now I'll just adjust my margin some more. I can probably bring it up to 200. So yeah, that's looking pretty good there. It's got where I want it to go, and I've also got this content up here. This text was kind of printed there. It kind of lays it out for you basically. So what I'm going to do is load in that lore ipsum text. Here's as if I lost it, and I need to go back to my lore ipsum generator. One second, 2 second, 3 second, 4. Here's some lore ipsum right here. So I am just going to cut and paste it right here. Now I have it. Now you could try to adjust this with the brakes and all that to try to make it work because it all is located within the main division or the main box that is already set in it. But what I want to do is I want to actually make this a paragraph. That way I can kind of like set styles of its own. So I am going to select all my text, insert paragraph. And now I'm going to go to my main again, and I'm going to create another selector for it. Call that my main P, my main paragraph. Now I can go ahead and start creating properties for this. And if you notice in your style sheet, you're starting to run all this stuff there, and there's the image, all the resolution stuff I did with the image, the margin, the main width, and now my main paragraph. So let's see, first of all, if we need to kind of like go ahead and split that other distance, I had the one thing split at like 30 so far. I'm just going to go and put like a 40% in there and see what happens. I need more than that. That looks good right there. This is where it start popping better, the inline block. Now you can kind of like see it's going to kind of run like that. Now we need to kind of scoot it off this image a little bit. So let's look at the margin we had set from the image to here is obviously going to be different. Right now this has no margin right there, but I'm going to want this thing in the middle, so I'm going to put the margin level down really far on this one. Let's say like 100. And I'm not worried about the margin here, from here to here. I am going to adjust the padding on here. So set. So you see the way the actual box didn't move, but the text moved. And I'm going to make sure it doesn't come off this side over here too. So padding and margin is a little confusing, but if you just think about it like margin is the actual content, padding is the content within the content, or the margin within the content. It's kind of the way I kind of see it sometimes. I kind of want this scooted over a little bit more, I think. Let's see if this does anything right here. Yeah, it brings it off some. And now you can kind of go around and do, it doesn't really matter with this float, because if you float it to the left, it kind of sticks over here. If you float it to the right, it's going to be more or less over here, but I kind of like mine just kind of right there with no floating, I guess. I'm going to change the color, change the font, whatever you want it to be. Different font, kind of matches that. Font size, make it, no. And you can center the text or align it how you want it to look on the, in your paragraph, maybe if it's an information page or something like that. So, but yeah, and that's kind of comes up to you with experimenting. But the important thing is to understand you've created your main box, you inserted an image in that main box and gave it its own class, so you're able to adjust it in there. Did the same with the paragraph text and adjusted it in there. So you run up with these different, these two different selectors would contain within the one selector, in other words. And if you go to your style sheet, you can see everything kind of laid out very nicely for you. So, all right, so that's just a quick getting, let's display this thing, see what it looks like. Save changes, yes. Yeah, we're back to where we were. I probably need to scoot that image in a little bit more. It was really, I probably should have used the big one and just kind of like squeezed it in instead of taking the smaller one, and that just comes with putting stuff in. So next one, I'm going to go add kind of a footer in here, and yeah, we'll go from there. So thanks for watching.